because it
Yeah.
does affect and it does put weight on other areas of your life that it doesn't feel good. So I'm like, I think it's ready to be changed. It's ready to be loved and to be looked at.
Yeah, that's the interesting point you talked about. Like also, like I would want to know, probably my audience would be curious to know about how does it actually affect on a career wise, like a work wise, we're working, work
Yeah.
placement or getting a new job probably. And we think like, oh, this is the job I cannot do because let's say as a receptionist, oh, I don't look that part like I'm not pretty enough because there is a lot of self-doubt and everything. So how does it actually affecting people on like moving forward with their career?
Yeah, I mean, it really does. I've seen people feel like, that are in sales and they're like, no one's gonna buy from me. I'm schlumpy or I'm this or I'm that, or
Mhm.
people don't feel worthy, pretending corporate of I'm not worthy of asking for a raise,
Yeah.
and we don't think it, right? It's not our first thought. We think business or work is productivity. And sure, there's a big obviously component of that. But when you don't feel worthy of, your looks, it starts to bleed in worth, period. Right. So if
Mm.
you're like, you could feel like so smart, but you could feel like, oh, I'm ugly, I'm this. Once you tell yourself that narrative
Yeah.
over and over and over and over, like that's just compounds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's over and over and it compounds and compounds. It starts to bleed into everything else. And so even though you're like, I know I'm really a great worker, but then there's this other story alive that's like, yeah, but I'm not worthy. I'm not, because you've been telling yourself that you're not worthy for so long. So you're not going to ask for the raise, or maybe you'll ask for the raise, but it feels like choppy, or, there's just, it's an energy thing. Like you don't feel like fully like you're allowed to take up space and be seen. And it's like, you don't feel worthy of that. So it truly affects almost every area of your life. That's why it's so important to address it if you can.
Yeah. And I see like it's stopping like a great content creator right now is like a content era. So everyone
Yes.
on a TikTok, YouTube videos, but oftentimes uh, we see a lot of people. They got great body shape and everything, the way they look and dresses up. We oftentimes think about, oh, I'm not going to be able to become an influencer. I'm not able to do the TikTok videos or YouTube videos because the way I look, the way
Mhm.
I dress up. But you have like a great gift. Some people can talk about like personal development, or they dealt with their loss, or like any kind of like experience. Like you can be a doctor and talk about some kind of diseases, how to like take
Right.
care of. Yeah, but the reason is like we're not confident enough to show ourselves on the platform like YouTube, TikTok. We tend to be like not doing the activity and just step back all the time and don't reach our true potential. Do you see
Yes,
that with your
it's
clients?
oh, all the time. It's funny. I'm actually thinking back to when I was getting, I have a million certifications and trainings, but the
Yeah.
last one I remember, we went through this huge process of how to teach and hold space for people. And at the end,
Mm.
there's a business intensive.
Yeah.
And the teacher was very, she was very successful in YouTube. And the objections of the students, so many were, I can't, I'll do another medium, I can't be on YouTube, I'll be crucified for my looks, I'll be ripped apart. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, this is so, and she's like, it's so funny that that's the objection isn't I don't want to do the work, that's a pain in the butt. It's more like people are like, no, 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 I don't want to be seen, I don't want to put myself out there and get ripped to shreds. And so
Yeah.
I totally see that being a thing. And it's funny, I want to comment on this because, like I said, I have every walk of life come in through my door or through my Zoom room for clients, like every single type of person. And, when they walk in, so many, different type, I'm like, wow, they're so beautiful or handsome, or that, like, what a great looking person, just amazing person.
Yeah.
And then they open up and they're like, I hate this, I hate this, and I'm like, what? And I share that to like normalize this, because I think especially with social media, we tell like ourselves, oh, I'm the one that's wrong, but they're all thrilled, they're all happy with themselves, they really love themselves. And like
Yeah.
when you start to look, I see it all the time, people I would never ever 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 expect are also ripping themselves to shreds. So I want to normalize this conversation. Like, no, don't put people on a pedestal. Like we don't know other people's stories and like we don't know where other
Yeah.
people are at.
Yeah, so like when someone comes with the problem they're having with the body confidence, like they want to coach by you, what's the first step you take, or like the questions you ask to them to figure out
That's a
what
great
actually the problem?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I really do try to, well, I also love to focus on the areas, well, I'll say this, that they like already. So again, I
Mhm.
don't want to like jump to crazy like,
Yeah.
okay, let's celebrate areas that you do. And I am a big big proponent of celebrating. So I have them celebrate and brag on themselves, every day to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. And they're like, no, I don't want to celebrate myself. And I'm like, it's just me, like it's safe. So I have them celebrate themselves, areas that they already like. So maybe like, I hate my stomach, but my hair is okay. I'm like, cool, let's get
Mm.
behind your hair, so it feels safe. And then we'll slowly build up to, if they hate their tummy, okay, great. Let's get to that space of neutralization. Like I talked about, maybe instead of being, like fully in with the tummy, maybe it's, I go with it. And this is advice I always say, it's like, go with childlike wonder. Like
Yeah.
put your childlike eyes and ears on, and be like, instead of being like, I'm not like flat tummy tea, it's like, oh, I love the color of my tummy, I love the texture, I love that it folds here. So we start with that, and again, then we progress and progress to a more loving space. But
Yeah.
it's a whole process. So there's tools, there's talk therapy, like there's lots of different
Yeah.
things that we do. But again, the good news is I never thought I would be where I am now, and I
Mhm.
did it, and I see clients do it. So for anyone that's like, that sounds nice, but you don't know how much I hate myself. I'm like, no, I promise I do. And the good news is this is available for you. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
available, and that's great news.
Yeah, it is. And so, like, when you comes down to what do you see like actual problem is there? Is it like emotionally most of the time, or do we see like a physically needs to make any changes, or do you guide them through
Emotionally.
emotionally? Yeah.
Emotionally. Yeah. Because like there's people just ripping themselves to shreds. And we just
Mhm.
find things like, okay, I worked on this and I hate this and I hate, and it's just so it's an emotional thing, and it's a
Yeah.
mindset thing. Because it's like, once you have one negative thought, it's easy to pick, or one judgmental thought of yourself. It's easy to pick and pick and pick, and then it just totally spirals out. So it's an emotional thing. It's sometimes could be a trauma thing,
Right.
like that could be its own conversation.
Yeah.
It can be an abuse thing. It could be a mindset thing. So and that's why this work is so specific and tailored for the client, because everyone's journey looks so different from one another.
Yeah. Yeah. So that leads to my another question, which is going to be related, and same time it'll be like a difference. Like, how long does it actually take for seeing some changes on them?